Hi guys, my name is Jones and I'm part of the customer success team of Kubernetes. Today we are talking about best practices in data visualization. Now, what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about why it's important, then go to 10 different best practices or steps to show you like, hey, you can use those practical remarks within your own dashboards. And lastly, a checklist that will give you or that you can use next to you when you're integrating a dashboard. Like, hey, is this done okay from one, I think, until 8 different points that we'll discuss that can be helpful for you to optimize your dashboards or to get the best out of your dashboards. Why does data visualization matters? When you're dealing with huge numbers or huge volumes of data, you want to keep an overview of them or just of it. That's where a dashboard comes in handy. A dashboard can be used to add a visual component to your story to convince people. So that's why dashboards can be so useful. And that's why we're going to talk the next 10 minutes about how your dashboards can be optimized so you can get everything from them and it's clear for you and for the user how to use them. Now, 10 best practices. Let's dive right into it. The first one is gather and prepare your data, specifically for analytics, for analysis. Now, 80% of each data project could be, we could say that 80% of each data project goes into this part, into gathering the data, preparing it, setting it up as such that it's clear, and also as such that for everyone it's a useful way to connect to the data, to make it flexible, to make it scalable. So that's why it's so important to prepare it before connecting. Now, second part is just avoid misuse of visualizations. We see two different charts. We see charts with the same meaning. You have like evolution of text rate. And the first one, there's just a small difference. There's no big difference between 2018, 2019. If you look at the second one, it's a huge difference. Why is it? Because the x-axis has been changed from 0 to 32. So a small difference when you look at the total volume can really have a huge impact if you look at it over here. So that's why it's important to give context, but also make use of the right visualization. A third tip or trick or best practice is keep your visualizations all on one screen. What we mean by that is like, hey, the human eye can only memorize 7 objects, or that's just what the study says. So keep everything within those boundaries. Keep everything, you don't want to scroll down. You just want to see every number that is relevant. You don't, if you use a filter at the top, for example, here you select a range, you need to scroll down for all the other objects that are on almost the second page. You want to change the filter again, you need to scroll up. So best way is just to have all the objects in one eye, in one blink of an eye. So that's why keep your visualizations and depending on the screen that you have. Keep the amount of visualizations, I'm sorry. Use the chart tab, the ones that come with your data, so that are suited for your data. Instead of explaining everything, because that would take a lot of time, I'm just going to show you our article that has been created. It's called Visualizations to Use for Which Data. It's on our Academy, it's live. And it gives you a nice flowchart of which charts are, according to our knowledge, the best or just the way to go. If you, for example, want to visualize a KPI or an evolution, you can look here. If you want to look at compare data or details of it, you can also look here. and correlation and geodata. So this article could really help you out if you want to dig deeper or dig into those specific charts, or if you just want to know like, hey, what's the best way? What do I want to achieve with my dashboard, and which chart is the best one to achieve that goal? So that's number 4. Number 5, sorry, is avoid excessive detail. Quite simple example here. If you only remember 7 objects or 7 numbers in a dashboard, then it's much more easy to memorize 2.4 million than 2.4.404.750.00. So depending on what you want to visualize, you can use or you can shrink or not. So that's really the way to format your number objects, but also your labels and all the other measures. So that's why it's a neat trick. Let's continue. Only 5 more to go. Avoid distracting visual effects. Why is that important? Let's just have a look at the chart itself. You want to visualize sales per month versus the target. So you have sales per month versus target, only 2 things. In the left chart, you see you have your sales for each month, first, second, third month, no problem. And you only have one dotted red line, which is showing you the target. Did they achieve their goal or not? That's what you can see right here. It's a whole different story if you're going to look at the right side. The right chart is giving you a load of details, but it's not clear which details. What's the difference between the green or the red, or the gray or the black line? And why are there so many axes? Why are there so many indicators? Keeping it simple and just showing what you want to see can already upgrade your charts and give you more knowledge. 7th on the list is use colors consistently. Within Kumellayo, you are able to set up consistent coloring within the hierarchy editor. What does that do? As you can see right here, we have one dashboard and each region has their own color. So if you look at the whole dashboard, if we're talking about blue, that's always the same category or region in this case. It's really nice, neat feature to make a continuum between or connection between charts. So if I look once at the dashboard, I know, okay, blue is the region, is this region, okay, that's visualizing that. So that's why you should use colors consistently. 8 is highlight only the most important information or only the one that you need. Within, for example, our data table, we have something what we call conditional coloring. So you can set up batches, you can set up full cells, the color of everything. But if you, for example, look at the right chart, the left chart, sorry, continue here, then you see that the client NPS score, everything has a color. It's cool, it's indicated, but I'm only interested in the ones that we need to take an action on, that we really need to focus on. So only the ones that we're not happy about, and that is the 5s. And that was happening here. Only highlighting the ones that needs attention. So here, everything is the same color, so I can see the data, I can interpret it, I know what it means, and I'm happy that there are 10s and 9s over here. The 5 is the one that I need to know because I want to take action. And for that part, it's more clear to see in this chart, like, okay, directly I need to talk to Parker and stuff like that. That's the 8th. Last 2 is, for example, providing more context or providing enough possibilities for context so that there are titles present, average satisfaction per product, for example, that you also have a text object that can help you out. We even have now, if I'm not mistaken, let's see, a tool. We have a tooltip that could also provide some more information if you look at the data and you want to play around. So provide enough context is really giving you options or giving you the possibility to look at the dashboard, read what's below it, and I can interpret the data correctly. Otherwise, they're just a number. And what does numbers mean without something, without some context or without some more explanation? Last one of the best practices is the following. Make smart use of your frame or of your available space or of your dashboard layout. Here at Camelayo, we always say that the dashboard just reads like a book. You go from left to right, you go from top to bottom. You put your filters at the top so you can choose them. Your important numbers go directly so left above so you can look at them and you can interpret it. So that's why with only 7 objects or just with only the space that you have, use it smart and use it in a good way. To give you just an overview, I'm not going to discuss them all, I already did that, but these are the 10 best practices for data visualization that we provide or that we would recommend. If you take knowledge or if you just look at this part, there's no magic being shown, but it's just like common knowledge that you can use. Now let's go to the checklist. Checklist is the last thing we're going to discuss and is the following. These 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different topics or 8 different subjects can help you out if you are integrating dashboards, if you are making the move from production to development. What I want to say is if you want to put some dashboards live and you just want to make sure that everything is correctly done, I would just take a look at the following. Let's discuss them just briefly in 2 minutes. Teaming. You can set up an organizational team in Camelayo itself. You can set up one theme and can reuse it in all the other dashboards that you're using. Formatting. Formatting is providing all the right precisions, the formats, all the measures that are all in the same way visualized. Is it with a dot? Is it with a decimal point and stuff like that? Now, languages. The third is languages. You can set up languages in Camelayo. What does that mean? That you can provide, or that you can set up titles in French or your data even in French. And you can also input the language part in metadata. So if someone is looking at the dashboard, then everything is in French. But when his colleague is looking at it, it can be in English. So that's possible in Camelayo. You can check it, you can make use of it. Screen modes is identically the same. You can set up screen modes for mobile, for tablet, desktop, large screen, and even fixed. So checking the dashboards if for every different screen mode, that it is showing the correct, for example, the correct way or the correct order, stuff like that. Titles and labels. Is every label correctly filled in? Is it still using the column name or did you translate it? Or even the titles. Are the titles always the correct one or is it just showing the grouped bar chart, for example? Then last 3 points, most difficult. The filtering, very important. You can set up dynamic filters. Do you want to use it? Is it active for everyone? Is your parameter correctly based? Is it also for every data set or not? So that's filtering. Last 2 are performance. For example, comparing the loading time of your largest client versus your smallest client is the best way to end your checklist. Is the best way to just check like, hey, do we have some issues? Where are we? Is it taking too long? Is it one object that takes as long to load or is it always just the full dashboard and stuff like that? We have performance tips on our academy. We have performance indicators. You can just mail us if you have questions about that. And lastly is publishing. why we put also publishing on the list. Because if you have a dashboard, one version of a dashboard, you put it as published, then you can play around with it later on without a problem. You can create a new dashboard, you can adjust everything without the people who are using it, they will know it. It's up to you to decide, okay, my new published version of the dashboard, I want to put it live. Then I just select published in the version menu. For all of these different checklist items, we have webinars, we have articles, we have blog posts, all of that. I really highly recommend you take a look at our academy or on our blog or our developer docs, for example, if you want to learn more about it. And I think that's about it. I talked a bit too much, maybe, but I hope it's clear that this can help you out if you want to visualize your data, or if you just want to upgrade your dashboards that you already have, to take a look at the checklist, to take a look at the different best practices that we created. So thank you for watching. And if you have any other questions, you know where to find us. It's support@cumul.io, and we are there to help you out. Thanks. Have a nice day. Bye.